I have lived in 3.2 states in my life. I only count Illinois as 2/10 of a state because I only lived there a few weeks. The other states are Tennessee, my home state, Texas, the state where I live now, and Indiana. And that's the state we're going to be talking about right now. Indiana is considered to be a Midwestern state, although by this map it seems to be more of a Far Eastern state, Far Eastern U.S. state, that is. Indiana was the 19th state admitted to the Union back on December 11th, 1816. This is the flag, and this is the seal. The first people living in what is now Indiana were Indians, as suggested by the name of the state. They were Paleo-Indians, who were the first Hoosiers about 8,000 years ago, following the decline of the Ice Age, which cleared a path for the folks living in Mongolia. I always thought Indians looked a little bit Asian. Well, anyway, they didn't know it yet, but those mean boys living over in Europe were going to show up in the latter part of the 17th century. At first, the Indians welcomed the white men, but they would come to regret it. In 1679, the first explorer was the Frenchman René Robert Cavelier de la Salle. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I couldn't understand Google's pronunciation. This guy went back to France and told everybody about the place, resulting in the rush of traders that blessed the native hosts with blankets, tools, jewelry, weapons, and whiskey. Jumping ahead over a century, in 1787, the U.S. defined the Northwest Territory, which included the area of present-day Indiana. In 1800, the U.S. Congress separated Ohio from the Northwest Territory, designating the rest of the land as Indiana Territory. The first state capital was in Corydon, but later moved to Indianapolis after the Colts left Baltimore. During the American Civil War, Indiana became politically influential and played an important role. Indiana was the first Western state to mobilize for the United States in the war, and soldiers from Indiana participated in all the war's major engagements. The state provided 126 infantry regiments, 26 batteries of artillery, and 13 regiments of cavalry to the Union. With the onset of the Industrial Revolution, Indiana's industry began to grow at a quick rate. In the early 20th century, Indiana developed into a strong manufacturing state with ties to the new auto industry. Somebody probably said, "We ought to build a racetrack." This, of course, led to the construction of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is a huge vacant lot and a bunch of bricks on the west side of Indianapolis. The race, starting in 1911, spurred the start of many auto-related industries. Haynes Apperson was the first commercially successful auto company, and it operated in Kokomo until 1925. People living in Indiana are called Hoosiers, and nobody has any idea why. Today, Indiana has a population of over 6.7 million people, according to the 2020 census. Major cities include Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Evansville, and South Bend, where that famous mayor is from. The state has Major League Professional Football and basketball, but no Major League Baseball. Two major universities include Indiana University in Bloomington and Purdue University in West Lafayette. Other famous Indiana towns include French Lick, whose resort was famous for gangsters in the 30s and later for Larry Bird, Greensburg, which has a tree growing out of the top of the courthouse, Mitchell, the home of astronaut Gus Grissom. There you are, Steve. Incidentally, I interviewed Gus in Mitchell once when I was in radio. And there is Nalbo in Indiana. It is only famous because it has a stupid name. Famous people from Indiana include James Dean, the actor.
You're tearing me apart!
John Mellencamp, the singer.
I was born in a small town.
Cole Porter, the composer.
I get no kick from champagne.
Red Skelton, the comedian.
When you hear the musical note, let somebody call me up and tell me what time it is.
Orville Redenbacher, that popcorn guy. And John Dillinger, the crook.
Well,
Well, I guess that's about everything you need to know about Indiana. I have fond memories of the rolling green hills and neat farms. Every time I hear On the Banks of the Wabash, I tear up a little.
Oh, the moonlight's fair tonight along the Wabash.
Of course, I tear up every time I hear about the current political situation, but that's for another episode.